Got a lot of buttons. I don't even know what some of them do.
Just hit them all. Just hit all the buttons, and we'll figure this thing out together.
Just make sure you hit the subscribe button, which is the little beer right underneath me.
There it is. And like, share, and follow the Sportsocracy on all of the social medias while you are at it. The off-season files, 2021 edition, Philadelphia Eagles and the Baltimore Ravens. First up, we'll start with the shitty Philadelphia Eagles. As they've got, they got big questions. They did the Carson Wentz deal. They got that done. Carson's going to the Indianapolis Colts. Now you're stuck with Jalen Hurts. What do? Do you draft a quarterback at 6? I think that's the number one question for their offseason.
And I'm going to say they do. I think they have to. They saw enough in Jalen Hurts last year that they know he's not the guy. I saw it in 2 games.
Right.
And as soon as I saw it, I went, uh-oh, this is not good. They tapped out on Carson Wentz's $33 million dead cap hit. Here's what's going to happen. Either they're going to take quarterback back at 6 because they fall in love with the guy. Mm-hmm. And I think that would be Trey Lance. Trey Lance is the guy that I've thought him in Philly for a long time. Philly and Carolina are the 2 places I really like him. Or they're going to tap. Mm-hmm. I think it's entirely possible you're going to have 5 teams tapping out for 2 quarterbacks next year. Because you're going to have Keaton Slovis and Sam Howell, and that's it. Tyler Shuck went to Texas fucking Tech, which means, nope, evaluations have gone out the window on that kid.
Why?
That air raid is just really hard to figure out. It's like Pat Mahomes. A lot of evaluators missed on Pat Mahomes because they thought his stats were inflated by the offense. And they were.
Right.
But you miss the talent because it's not – you don't have to be a prodigious talent to be really good in an air raid.
True.
Another problem we have with Keaton Slovis. The evaluation on Slovis is hard because that's what USC's running right now. So Philadelphia is a team I can see just tapping out, saying we got a $33 million dead cap. They have $40 million in dead cap. Mm-hmm. That's just under a fifth of their salary cap is dead money to players that aren't on the team anymore.
That's insane.
You're scrubbing the decks, scrubbing the books. We know we're not going to be good, which makes me think they could give Jalen Hurts just a year, just to shut the fans up, because you're putting him in a no-win situation.
Absolutely,
he'll be able to put up fantasy numbers. He ain't going to put up wins.
But you draft a quarterback right now. I mean, you're. It's ridiculous. First off, you shouldn't have drafted Jalen Hurts in the first place. You created the quarterback controversy for yourselves by drafting him in the second round. And now you're going to take the guy that you drafted in the second round and draft a guy in the first round and create another fucking controversy.
I think if you take a guy in the first round, the controversy will be coming. But I think at that point, Jalen Hurts would become what they originally drafted him to be. They didn't draft Jalen Hurts to be. This is actually the thing that drove me crazy about it. This wasn't their intention. Their intention was never for Jalen Hurts to be a threat to Carson Wentz. He was supposed to be used like Taysom Hill. Mm-hmm. And if something happened to Wentz, he was a guy that could slide into the lineup and they wouldn't lose too much. He was supposed to be an insurance policy.
Right.
And they were so stupid that they actually thought that would be a thing in Philadelphia, which is the second loudest media market in the country.
With the most insufferable fans. Yeah.
And then something happened where, Carson Wentz sucks, and you've got a second-round pick sitting behind him. When we did our draft show last year, I literally called my shot of how this was going to go not 30 seconds after the pick was made.
Absolutely.
And it went exactly how I thought it would.
That's why I don't think the smart move here would be to draft a quarterback. To me, you're not good, and you're not going to be good. You're not a move or two away, so don't draft the quarterback here. Don't feel like you have to be tied into drafting a quarterback at 6. I mean, get a guy in the second or third round.
No. If you're not taking a guy to be the guy, don't take another guy. Don't. You take one at 6 or you don't take one at all. There is absolutely no point in what. All right, I'm going to go on a little draft tangent here. I'm sorry. Stop taking guys in the second round. Stop doing it. It never works. If you, fuck you. I heard Christian Hackenberg. That's a bad word on this show. If you look at every quarterback that's been taken in the second round in the last 10 years, I think one of them's been half-assed, and it was Kevin Kolb. Mm-hmm. And the reason is because if anybody felt like they were starter, they'd have gone in the first. Mm-hmm. They would have. I mean, think about the guys that are going to go in the second round this year. Kyle Trask. I don't mind him, but he's the backup. You wasted a second-round pick on a backup quarterback that may one day be half-ass for, Justin Parton. Fives from afar. What up? Check the YouTube comments if you don't know what I'm talking about. And then, the guy from Jamie Newman. Mm-hmm. He's fallen so far down my board that I've forgotten his name. That's a bad sign. Stop doing that. In Philadelphia, if you're not going to take a guy at 6, just roll with Jalen Hurts and Nate Sudfeld. Mm-hmm. And then you can lather it up and do it again next year. Because you'll have Howell and Slovis. And I'll be honest with you, the Eagles, the Lions, and the Texans, to me, are the 3 favorites to wind up in the top 2 spots to take those quarterbacks next year. Mm-hmm. That was my little rant.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
And it makes a lot of sense. If you're not going to draft a guy, don't draft somebody behind him. I understand what you're saying, but I don't think this is the move. I think you look to future classes for your next franchise quarterback. See what you got first in Hurts, because you know what you have in Hurts.
You know what you have in Hurts. If Hurts is the day one starter, they're tapping out on the year. They know what they have.
Yeah.
They know exactly what he is. Now, what you could do is to keep, and I've heard this, and Jamar Chase is the name I keep hearing. You could add a receiver to really make it look like you gave Jalen Hurts the old college try.
Right.
And when he falls on his face, which he will, then you can say we gave him all the opportunities. Now we take another quarterback. And now he's Taysom Hill.
Right.
We got him for 2 more years. Now he's Taysom Hill. I could see that happening.
I think you've put yourself in a position where you should be stuck.
Patrick Holt
be stuck with him for a year.
Patrick Holt said wasn't Drew Brees a second rounder, and that is the exception that proves my point, because that was 20 years ago. Oh, and by the way, he wasn't a success with his original destination. They drafted a guy in the first round 4 years later. Just throwing it out there. He's still playing, and the guy they drafted is retired.
Right.
That's how long Drew Brees has been around.
What kind of options do they have, though, to add anybody?
In the draft?
Yeah,
it depends on what you're trying to do.
I'm talking about this. I mean, obviously, the draft, they have draft picks that they can bring guys in. I'm talking about free agency.
They can't do anything.
I mean, they're $43 million over the cap. How do they make that work? Because, I mean, you mentioned Nate Sudfeld.
Oh, I actually just saw that he added Andy Dalton, Jake Plummer, and Brett Favre. Brett Favre was 30 years ago. Jake Plummer was 26 years ago. And Andy Dalton was 10 years ago?
Something like that.
And do we really feel like Andy Dalton's been successful? He's been fine.
He had some good years in
He's been fine, but literally he's the best quarterback that's been drafted in the second round in the last decade.
True.
Kevin Kolb was the other one I was thinking of. Derek Carr, another good example. Okay. He's won exactly 0 playoff games.
Right.
I mean, yeah, he's been a starter in the NFL, but woo. I'm one of those people that I think you either have an elite quarterback or you don't have a quarterback.
Right.
I think there's 4 teams in the NFL that have a quarterback right now, so I'm a little biased.
Your standards are a little too high. I think that's what everybody's saying. Your standards are a little too high.
Coffee's for closers. I take mine with 2 creams. So, yeah.
But at $43 million,
look, I'm a Jets fan, and I was a Knicks fan for a lot of years. I don't see a lot of winning, so it's all shooting for the moon for me.
So at $43 million over, though, you mentioned Nate Sudfeld. Nate Sudfeld's a free agent. How are they going to have a backup quarterback? How do they bring in one guy?
One of these days, I'm going to do a tutorial video on the salary cap, and I'm actually going to do it staring at you.
You need to. That's why I'm asking you the question.
They can get under the cap. Getting under the cap is actually not going to be a problem. They can restructure deals. They can make them more team-friendly. They've got a lot of deals that run up next year. Brandon Graham, I think, is one of them. Mm-hmm. And if you extend those deals and you could push the guaranteed money that's existing, which you're having to pay all of because you've kicked it down the road for so long, that's what actually extending a deal is. Restructuring a deal is where there are multiple years left and you convert base salary into bonus money. So as opposed to having to pay it in a 1-year chunk, you pay it over 3 years. They don't have a lot of that second thing, but they can extend guys and it will open up money. They're going to field a competitive roster. The problem is you got $40 million in dead cap. So basically you have a high level starting quarterback on your roster in the form of a dead cap hit.
Right.
You're not going to be able to do much with that. So this is a year of adding pieces that will matter down the line, which is why I really like them taking Jamar Chase. I really like them taking Kyle Pitts too. And you got to understand, they're going to get another pick for Zach Ertz because Zach Ertz is going to get traded. I thought it was going to be to Indianapolis, but I'm not so sure of that now. I really like them taking the best player on the board. They need something everywhere. They have one really good linebacker. The D-line's pretty good. The offensive line is subpar, but you got a lot of capital wrapped up in it. And you have no receivers. I mean, tell me what position they really look at and go, I feel good about this.
It's not their team doctors.
It's the D-line. That's it. It's the defensive line. Everything else on this team needs to be upgraded. So just take the best player available. I love Kyle Pitts to them at 6. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think they take Jamar Chase or a quarterback. That's where I think this goes.
Yeah. So best player on the board, and if you don't take a quarterback first, don't take one.
Correct.
Those are your two main.
Well, adding another half-ass quarterback to this room makes no sense. If you believe Trey Lance is the dude, go get him. I don't give a fuck who your quarterback is. I don't care if you took one in the second round. I don't care if you took Carson Wentz in the first round 5 years. I don't care. If you see a guy that's a franchise guy, it's hard to get those guys. Now, just understand, you're going to miss on that guy 40% of the time. Horrifically.
Yep.
You're going to be wrong 80% of the time. So just know that.
All right, let's talk about the other birds. The Baltimore Ravens, a team